California, so that's why I still say California. Sorry about that. But I'm a reseller. I've been with Insight for about 2 years, and prior to that, I worked with a company called Spectralogic out of Colorado. So I worked for both a vendor and also, or a manufacturing vendor, and also a reseller. So tonight I want to talk about some things that are very near and dear to my heart, vendor relationships. And I want to go over a couple things that I hope can basically empower you to make some better decisions when you select a vendor, and maintain and strengthen your relationship with current vendors, or also help you select a new vendor, and leverage your relationship to create a win-win scenario. So that way you're benefiting from working with your vendor, and also your vendor is benefiting working with you. So before I begin, I want this to be informative and also cathartic. So let's go over some stereotypes. Let's hear it. Vendors are? Don't hold back.
Dolby 5.1, 5.
We're greedy.
He said stereotypes.
We're shady. You never know what we're going to do. Doing a lot of deals behind your back. Pushy. Filling up your voicemail. Taxing out your spam filter. And we're a necessary evil. We stand between you and getting what you want. And I'm here to tell you, yes, some vendors are all these things. So how does one go about distinguishing the good from the bad? I basically have 4 parameters I want to talk to you guys about. Basically will help you decide who you want to do business with. The first one being company reputation. You want to choose a company that's reputable and has credentials that you know can support you. You want to choose a partner, or you want to choose a pusher. You can do either one. Neither one is bad or whatever. But what I mean by partner versus pusher, partner is someone who adds value. Pusher is someone who just basically can say, hey, I can fulfill your requirements. Sometimes one works better than the other. You have to make that decision. Added value. No matter who you're dealing with, they should add some value to you. Otherwise, it's not worth doing business with them. And lastly, accountability. You want your partners or your vendors to be able to be accountable for the products they provide you and stand behind them. So going into reputation and credentials, some of the questions you should really scrutinize your current or new vendors are how long have they been in business? It's estimated that a new business will only last about 2 years before they close their doors. That's the average industry right now. So if you're dependent on a supplier to provide you solutions, services, whatever, they're not going to be around in 2 years. How's that going to affect you and your business? If you're dependent on them as your sole provider, if they're not there, that may put you behind schedule. That may put you in front of your boss's dismay. Has a firm recently been acquired, or is there a recent acquisition about to happen, or a new acquisition about to happen? How can this affect you? Basically, you have to determine, and anytime any acquisition occurs, certain people leave, certain products change, certain levels of core competence change. That may affect you and might not be able to procure the information, the services, or the goods you need. You have to consider the company's financial structure. Are they private or public? Not that one's better than the other, but a public company, they have stocks. They have to hold to their stock, answer their stockholders. What could that mean to you? Maybe they raise their margins. They may want to make more money off you because they have to improve their stock level. Maybe they let people go, again, causing dismay and basically changing the way you work with that vendor. Doesn't really happen so much with resellers, but some manufacturers are venture funded. How long are they going to be around? After the last series of VC money, they could be gone. If you rely on their technology, that could affect you greatly. Technical staffing. Can they support you? Is that support going to be local? Is that going to be on-site support? Or is that going to be phone support from overseas? Also, you have to consider, is a vendor going to be a local vendor for you, or is it going to be a national vendor? I know you guys are BayLISA, so I imagine you have multiple sites. If you have an office in Des Moines, a vendor you're working with here that has an office here might not be able to support your Des Moines operation. I just picked Des Moines. Not bagging on it or anything. There's also personal aspects to consider. Does the personality of the vendor match your own? I'm not saying you have to be best friends with your vendor, but chances are you're going to be talking to them more than not. And if you really don't like somebody, it's kind of hard to do business with them. People buy from people. Does their personality match your company culture? This is a big one. I mean, that reflects greatly on you. If you're bringing in someone to your corporation and say, for instance, your CEO or CFO has bank investors in and this guy's coming in and telling off-color jokes or whatever, it reflects badly on you. This one is probably one of the biggest ones I like to talk about. Is your vendor willing to tell you no? I'm a sales guy. I want to be liked. I want you to buy my product. Sometimes I find myself always saying yes. Oh yeah, we can do that. But at the end of the day, maybe that's not the answer you're looking for. Maybe you're looking for someone to say, hey, no, I don't think this is going to make sense for you guys. I don't think this is in your best interest. And, does the sales rep or engineer understand your requirements? How do you know? Ask them. At the end of a meeting or at the end of a presentation, they should be able to succinctly talk back to you and tell you exactly what you told them. So choosing a partner or a pusher. Servicing needs. It's one of the definitive differences between the two. A lot of times, and I'm not bagging on pushers, they have their purpose. They offer discounted items, and we all use them, but are they really servicing your needs or their own? Do they ask you the questions to understand why you're purchasing these things? What application are you running? Why are you doing that? Do they listen to the answers you give? Anybody know the 2-to-1 rule? I have 2 ears and 1 mouth. I should use them accordingly. If you talk with the customer, a lot of times you just listen. They'll tell you everything you need to know. But as a sales guy, we get caught up, a lot of times wanting to dominate a conversation. Hey, schmooze you a little bit. But if we're not listening to you, we're not really doing you any service. And, is your vendor offering you the right solution set? If you're working with a vendor that, focuses on laptops, it might not be your best person to talk to when you're dealing with a storage project. I mean, not saying that they necessarily can't do it, but that might not be their core level of competence. Adding value. Before going to the slide, I want to tell you guys a little story. I moved here from Colorado, like I said, about 2 years ago. And before I left, I had this patio furniture. I figured I didn't really want to lug it across the country, moving to California, I want to get something with palm trees on it or whatever. And I didn't want to throw it out either because it was still in pretty good shape. So I was living in a condo at the time. And I asked the association, anybody live in a condo before? Okay, we have to deal with an association. And it's okay if I put it out front, put a sign on it, free to a good home. Oh yeah, that's cool. So I figured, someone's going to want it. It's in good shape. A week goes by, still there. 2 weeks go by, still sitting there. People are writing on the sign, jackass, giving away patio furniture or whatever. But, so I'm starting to get heat from the association now. They're like, get this stuff off our lawn. I'm like, oh God. So I took the sign. I'm like, I need a new sign. So that night I wrote on it, patio furniture, $100. And guess what? Someone stole it that night. Is that really value though? I mean, not really, that's just perceived value. And I define value as basically being the difference between the benefits and cost. So, if the benefit of working with a vendor outweighs maybe the incurred difference of buying it from the cheapest solution, there's actually value there. You look at that equation, if benefits equals cost, there's no value. And if your benefits are less than cost, again, there's no value. So with that, the lowest price may not always be the best practice for you. But before you do that, you really need to determine what is the biggest value to you. Maybe perhaps there's a target implementation date. Next month, on the 20th, I need to have this up and running. Otherwise, it's going to put me behind schedule. My boss is going to be on my butt. Maybe a vendor can help you accomplish that. I mean, they're going to bring you tangible value. saying, hey, I can get this done, I can implement this for you. Maybe the vendor can provide you a turnkey solution or a one throat to choke philosophy, where you don't have to piecemeal everything together and say, hey, I need to get the service from this guy, I need to get this from this guy, and by the time everything gets in here, it's a logistical nightmare. Basically, I always tell people to align value with one parameter with your vendor, and that is if the value you're getting from them is aligned with their pricing. So make sure your vendor is aligning the value you need with their pricing they're offering you. Because if you have everything out of disproportion, you can tell the equation goes out of whack. Accountability. I'm human. Vendors are human. We make mistakes. Products fail. But really we're defined by our ability to stand with you when these things happen. So a lot of times, we were just talking about this earlier, when my phone doesn't ring, that's a good thing because that means products are working. And my phone usually rings when, this thing you just sold us, yeah, it's on fire. But you really should be able to stand by your partner. Your partner should be standing behind you in the good times and the bad, not just when things are good. You should also evaluate whether or not your vendor has a reputation for meeting customer expectations. Get references. And I'm going to give you guys a little secret. I have references, okay? I have about 5 people that I know I can always count on through thick and thin. Everybody does. But ask for more than that. Ask for 10 references. And then randomly call 3. Because everybody's going to try to point you to who they want you to talk to. There's a philosophy of under-promising and over-delivering. Also, again, see if you can't get references of them doing so for other customers. So now you've selected a vendor. You think you got somebody you can work with, and you're about to encounter a deal. You're going to bring them in, talk about your project and everything else. I'm here to tell you, you really have to play that game wisely. And information is power. My first sales job when I graduated college and I thought I was going to take on the world, I ended up selling cars. It was 1997. I was living in Wisconsin. Not really the mecca for information technology, as you can imagine. And it was fun for me because knowledge really wasn't out there in cars. People didn't really have. Every once in a while, we had an internet-savvy customer come in and he'd printed up some notes and he knew what my invoice was and everything else. And so, those guys would just try to get a low deal going out. But you could really make a lot of money on people. But it was an interesting dynamic because within that same year, by the end of the year I stopped selling cars, I was getting grandparents coming up with internet notes. And they knew exactly what I was paying for these cars. And I was like, I can't make any money anymore. It was kind of ridiculous. So, and plus I had to look in the mirror and say I'm a car salesperson. But definitely information is huge. If you have information, do your product research, do your pricing research, know what things cost. You also want to keep your vendors involved. Let them know your priorities. If you have to have something installed first before you can move to the next step, let them know that. They can align their resources to best fit your needs. And also you can prevent a lot of time wasting. Let them know, I have to run this through an RFP process. Maybe they can help you write the RFP. You want to showcase competing products you may own. Okay, this is what happens when you have a vendor come in. You guys, I imagine most of you have a fairly comprehensive array of products out there from different manufacturers, possibly even competing storage technologies, things of that nature, servers. If you're bringing in your Dell rep, walk them by your IBM servers. Nothing really makes a vendor sweat than realizing that they have some competition in here and they don't own the account. You want to take vendors on a data center tour, if you can. Sometimes security doesn't allow you to do so. But if you can, take them on a data center tour. Show them their competitors, their competitive products in your installed data center. And even if you're not, even if you have the blinders on, you say, you know what, I'm really going to buy this EMC Clarion. I know this is what I want. I don't care what NetApp has to say. Don't let NetApp know that. Never. Always create the perception of competition. I think I got a little hasty there. Sorry. Okay. Where was I? Okay. You want to make sure your vendor anticipates doing future business with you. So don't let them think this is a one-time transaction. They're less likely to gouge you if they think they're going to be doing business with you on a recurring basis. And ideally, you should probably try to do business with a vendor on a recurring basis because they're going to start giving you better discounts. Also, they're going to be more apt to help you succeed after the sale occurs because you're kind of holding that carrot in front of them to incent them to do so. You want to entertain competitive bids, even if it's like product. You know, go to 2 or 3 different EMC suppliers. I know BayLISA, you guys probably deal a lot of times with direct manufacturers, but same way, you know, let them know that, hey, I'm going to test you guys out and I'm looking at some other things. And you want to make sure your vendors are aware you're looking for aggressive pricing to cut down the time frame. Say, put your best foot forward. I'm going to be shopping you. And never pay for features you don't anticipate using. You know, that goes back to the vendor trying to meet their needs versus yours. You can always buy those upgrades later. And chances are they're going to probably go down in cost. And do it at a time when you grow into it and you actually need it. A proof of concept. This is something huge. I love to do this stuff in competitive situations. A lot of times, you know, I'm a sales guy, I'll promise the world and everything else, but the customer's like, I don't believe you. Or if I'm up against one of my competitors, I'll do an installation. I'll say, you know what? I'll install exactly what you're looking for into your environment, let you test it, and at that time, you can determine if this is going to meet your needs. We'll set some parameters up, and if I meet your parameters or your criteria, the equipment's yours. You cut a PO, you own it. The good thing about this is, you know, a lot of times I'm very fortunate. A lot of the products I represent never leave the customer's hands because they work out. But also, you just saved a lot of time in terms of implementation. You're already installed, you're up and running. And if you're going to get references on a proof of concept and not do it internally yourself, make sure you're getting a reference that's like configuration or exactly like configuration, because performance levels can be tweaked, everything else. You can get benchmarks that are lab situations that never occur in reality. Make sure you're getting actual references. You want to maintain and strengthen your relationship because at the end of the day, if you do so, your vendors are going to treat you better. You're going to get better discounts from them. They're going to help you out. You want to always be respectful to your vendors. And I know it's kind of tough. We deserve it sometimes. But you got to think of the golden rule, you know? If you treat them well, they're going to treat you well. And honesty is contagious. If you're honest with them, they're going to be honest with you. Another thing you can do is offer to help your vendor. Introduce them to other people inside your organization. You know, maybe you have colleagues that are part of your team. Maybe you have other divisions that might have similar projects or different projects available. Someone's calling you, Jen. But
Is it the speaker?
I don't believe so. I don't know.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
They call back.
Okay.
We'll talk to them.
Okay, sorry.
They call back trying to sell them something.
Okay, perfect. But you want to introduce.
We watch?
What's that? Yeah. Gotta watch.
Right, that's proof of concept.
There you go. So yeah, introduce some other people in your organization though. What's going to be good for that is the days that you're out, you have some overlap. You can have other people they can contact and work with. And what it really does, it helps build a strong relationship with that vendor without you actually having to buy anything. You want to also, on the other side of the coin, get to know the vendor's infrastructure as well. Get to know their SEs. Get to know their internal sales support. Because summer months, a lot of people take vacations. Christmas time, holiday season, people take vacations. You know, you want to get to know those people. Also, SEs. You know, when you have a problem, a lot of times you don't want to talk to the sales guy. You want to talk to the guy who can help you. So get to know the SEs. Also, you know, there's a lot of changeover in vendors. Salespeople leave. You want to make sure that you can continue to do business with that vendor even if hiccups occur. Set expectations for communications. Let your vendor know straightforward. I don't want to talk to you every day. Please stop calling me. Call me once a month. Let me know updates, whatever. Well, let them know the best method to contact you. Is it via phone, via email? IM. Some of my customers, Jennifer, are on IM. I'll chat with them all day long. Or, hey, you need something? It's an easy way to contact people. And one of the things that, maybe I'm groveling a bit here, but pay on time. Nothing can derail a relationship than not paying your vendor on time. It sets a lot of hiccups in your dealings with each other because they may put them behind their schedules and in turn puts them in trouble with their vendors.
I'm really sorry, James.
That's
so
all right.
sorry.
You're forgiven. You're forgiven. I should have put Jennifer on there. Yeah, you guys are good. So, once you have a relationship created, how do you leverage it? Gain mind share with your vendor. Ask for it. Hey, we've been doing a lot of business for years now, or months, and do you think it'd be possible when I call you, could get a better level of responsiveness? Is that a possibility? Maybe get extra support. We're going to do a data cutover this weekend, and we're a little bit light staffed. Maybe you can send an SE out and help us out with this, or at least have them available on the phone if we run into any problems. And also, they can help inform you of upcoming technologies. Hey, something really cool is coming out. They're putting a new OS for your storage solution, and there's going to be probably a pretty big queue of customers that are going to be wanting this. Maybe I can get you up and have you run this first, or if you want to be a beta site and check it out, it's some really cool stuff. They can also give you pricing guidance. And this is something that I'm not trying to promote my organization, but as our name Insight Investments suggests, we also lease capital IT equipment. One thing we offer is Price Watch. We get a lot of people, we bid a lot of leases, so we see a lot of equipment and a lot of equipment pricing. So we tell people, hey, I think you might be paying too much for some stuff here. On the same thing, we also do Market Watch. Maybe this isn't a good time for you to do an upgrade, Mr. and Mrs. Customer. There's a new chip coming out. There's a new processor coming out. Maybe you want to hold off and wait till the market's a little bit better for you, and you can take advantage of that. You can also have bundled pricing with multiple products or projects that you may have. Also, when you work closely with a vendor, they're committed more to your success than to the actual sales themselves.
Huh?
When you work closely with a vendor, they can be more committed to your success than their sales.
Huh? Please back that statement up.
Okay. Perfect example. One of my customers, I make very little money off them, but I use them as a reference. So I'm more committed to watching them succeed because I can use them as a reference.
So how do I become a loss leader?
I don't know. There's no clear-cut formula for that.
So, but that's an exception and not the rule.
It's an exception, not a rule, but it doesn't have to be, only one or two people out there. If you work closely enough with somebody, they might find a competitive advantage of just having you as a customer.
So it's not a
But it helps if you're a city.
I'm working on it!
So I have a comment about this. In terms of what my perceived point on this is that when the person that's selling this up to me knows that I'm doing well, they know that they're gonna get more out of me, so they're motivated.
Better argument.
That is a better argument. I'm going to write that one down. Email me that.
Well,
but that's
so one of the things that I've discovered with that, not to like say James and his company are great, but they are great. I can throw a problem at them, and they'll come up with a couple of solutions for me. I can then shop that solution around, and they've given me the best deal. I'll get that deal. So
and I've lost
they're
deals.
Motivated. They're motivated to actually
solve
my problems.
Really what you wanted to say was that for both parties involved, there is an advantage to a long-term relationship. And if that can be made clear, then companies like yours might be willing to have SEs on call or something like this. But the raw statement itself didn't really float.
Okay. I stand corrected. I will work on that. So going back to that, so yes, they can help commit to your success as opposed to their individual sales. Build a business case. What stands between you and your product? Sometimes it's CFO. Sometimes you want something and you can't get it because it's too expensive. You don't have, it's not in your budget. So maybe they can help you sell internally. Create ROI justification. Hey, if you use this product, you know, you can basically pay for itself within 2 months versus the course of action you're on right now. A vendor can become a resource to your company. Can provide you competitive information. Hey, your competitor's doing this, and this is what they're realizing. Maybe it's something you want to entertain. This is how they accomplish that. Technological information is available to you as well through your vendor. Again, you know, so-and-so is going to be launching a new product coming out here. It might really improve the way you guys are doing business. Maybe you want to take a look at it. Market trends and directions. I don't think people are really using this stuff. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna take. These guys are probably going to be out of business here in a year or so. Staff. Hey, you know any good people? You can ask your vendor. We're looking to fill a couple positions. You know anybody out there looking for jobs? And to you personally, you can leverage your vendors. Your next job. Hey, I'm looking for, you know, change teams here. You know anybody looking? Business contacts. I really want to know what they're doing over at that other company. Can you maybe introduce me to them? Social network. Again, you know, this isn't everybody. We're fortunate. I'm in Southern California. We have tickets to every single sporting event in Southern California, concerts, things like that. What better way to spend an evening with your vendor at like a, you know, a baseball game or a hockey game or whatever. So that's pretty much about it. You know, I wanted to keep it light. Yes?
First, a comment about the gifts. Since I worked in the defense industry for so long, I am still shy of gifts from vendors.
Right.
That actually turns me off, you know.
Right.
Because it speaks not of the products that are behind them. The other question, I used to deal with SpectraLogic. I wondered, why did you leave them? Was it geographical?
No, I wanted something more, I guess. Tape is interesting and fascinating and everything else, but it's tape. And at the end of the day, I just don't think, you know, there's much of a marketplace. No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I mean, tape's, I'll go out and say I don't think tape's really going to ever go away altogether, but the requirement for tape, I mean, you're getting, what, the LTO4 is going to come out with 800 gigs native per tape. You know, these big, huge tape libraries, silos.
So now your company has a wide range of,
right.
Quite a wide range of products.
Correct. We're storage focused for the most part, but we do also do application performance management and things of that nature as well. And we're a little divested into, you know, server industry, but that's not our mainstay.
Yeah, we used to buy a lot of tape.
Yeah, a lot of people did, and you know, a lot of people are moving away from it, or you know, trying to mitigate the amount of tape that they're purchasing because, you know, at the end of the day, it's tape. And
just buy more systems and keep it on.
Yeah. And I put a picture of my dog on here to remind me to let you guys behind the wizard's curtain a little bit. Something I like to call. Anybody know what a puppy dog close is? Okay. So as a sales guy, I'm going to share a little information with you guys. What I like to do with all my customers, as you know, I talked about proof of concept and everything else. It's also a great sales tool for us because if you ever had a puppy dog and you bring it home, or you had kids who have a puppy dog and bring it home, what's the likelihood of you taking that dog back? Probably pretty slim and none. So, you know, we love to get the products in your guys' hands, play with it, you know, and you see the benefits and you see it actually working and helping you out. Chances are you're not going to give it back.
Or you see it's absolute crap and you want to give it back.
Pardon?
If it works, is really what he's
Right.
Right.
It's kind of like the puppy that poops everywhere.
Yeah. Well, those get put down, you know. So that's pretty much all I have. Anybody else have any questions? All right, well, thank you for your time.
I speak it right.
Just in time.